Hi, I'm Karen and welcome to Change Your Man Toolkit. And I'm really excited that you're here as you dive into this program that I've been able to develop for you. You know, I'm not an engineer, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a housebreaker or a marriage breaker. On the contrary, I'm just a normal average woman with two kids. Both my boys are grown up now, and I'm really happy to be able to explain to you how you can change your man and have him like it. How you can change your man and have him do what you want, when you want, and have him like it. And you know, changing your man is not such a bad thing. It's something that I've learned to do over the years, and it's those techniques, those strategies, those tips and tools that I really want to share with you, because finally I have cracked the code of the masculine mind. So let me tell you a little bit about why I developed this program called Change Your Man Toolkit. You see, it's women that generally will come to counselling before men to try and sort out something about their marriage when they feel as though their relationship is in some sort of strife. And when I was doing some counselling in Singapore, there were so many women in that situation who came to me with problems with their relationship that, you know, I had to start writing down some of the tools and the techniques that I was teaching. And it got to the point where I decided to actually create a program about it, simply because of the fact I got a bit tired of repeating myself over and over and giving the same tips and the same techniques. And you might question, where did I get these techniques from? Well, quite frankly, they were things that I used, I discovered just in my own marriage, you know, trying to have Mike respond to me in a certain way, feeling hurt when he didn't. And so I realized that there were things that women could do to actually change their man. I then started on a search of finding out what made men different from women, because their brains are different. And I started doing this internet search and reading up books and going to conferences just to find out about the difference between men and women. And with this newfound knowledge, I was actually able to pull together these resources and make a toolkit, because that's really what it is. They're different ideas, they're different techniques. You can grab these tools and use them to enhance your relationship. You know, you're probably like many other women who say to me that they would love to get back the passion and the intimacy in their relationship. You know, we see it in the Hollywood movies, and the chances are you're not going to get back a passion like they show on the movies, but you know that somewhere in your relationship there is something deeper that you had before and you'd love to get back again. And so that's really what the tools in this toolkit can help you to do, is to get back that intimacy, to have beside you a man who is empathic, who is loving, who is considerate, and who speaks to you in a normal voice, all the things that you yearn for, instead of just having a so-so relationship and so-so sex, or in fact possibly no sex at all. So with the Change Your Man techniques, these are things that you can apply on a day-to-day basis. You can try one at a time or several at a time, and I guarantee that you're going to have a huge change in your relationship. So you're raring to get going? I'm really keen to tell you some of the things. When I actually started to investigate the difference between men and women, I actually thought the whole process of developing a toolkit was going to be quite complicated, and it was actually easier than I thought. And I can actually hear you laughing to yourself and saying, well, you know, that's because men are really quite simple. And no, it's not that men are simple. In fact, they're complicated creatures, a bit like we women are. It's more that when you actually know the science of relationships, when you understand how relationships work, when you understand about emotions, and emotions are very much sort of physical reactions that we have inside of ourselves, when you know what's actually causing emotions and what will reduce negative emotions, once you know that science, you can actually use it to your advantage. And that's really what I mean by changing your man. It's having this knowledge that's empowering and letting you be in charge of the relationship. Why Why is it difficult? That's another question that you may ask. Why is it difficult for women to change their man? Why has it been in the past? It won't be in the future, but why has it been in the past? Well, it's really because women tend not to ask for what they want emotionally and sexually. And that's very much part of our upbringing. It's the upbringing, you'll hear messages of perhaps your mum saying, it's the guy who has to make the first approach, or women who ask don't get. Men don't like women who are pushy. And so we tend to be people who drop hints or who beat around the bush. And let me tell you, it's those very things, it's the dropping the hints and the beating around the bush that drive men crazy. They just don't understand us. They need us to be clear. And these are some of the things I cover in the toolkit. So as long as you can be aware of that and know when to use the different tools, you will actually be able to create a really great relationship. So what do I cover in the Change Your Man toolkit? I just want to give you a bit of an idea about what's coming. The first thing is the introduction. That's what we're talking about. That's what I'm talking about right now, where you're learning a little bit about the program and about me. And then I'll just give you an example of some of the tools that I've talked about. Like at a time, for example, when you might get sick of having to nag him and wishing that he would offer to help you just voluntarily so that you didn't have to nag, there's a tool there called the Radical Request. And perhaps there are times when you wish that he would talk to you about his feelings, like back in the good old days when you shared lots of stuff. But these days he just seems to be completely emotionally absent, doesn't talk to you about his feelings, doesn't talk to you about your own feelings. There's another tool called Oral Amplifier, how to get him to talk about his feelings. Another tool I've called Booby Trap, and that's a tool to help you understand why your guy always comes and gropes you, and particularly at inappropriate times, like while you're peeling the potatoes, and he thinks that you like it. And the tool Mission Impossible, so named because this tool is about how to get your man to stop looking at other women. So there's an example of the different tools that are in this toolkit. There are 17 altogether, and I invite you to read further down to actually get a complete list of the tools and the desired behaviour that you are wanting from your man when you use that tool. So your first task as part of this introduction and the gearing up to getting going with this program, your first task is to get yourself a journal. Now, I don't mind if that's just an exercise book or a spiral bound notebook. That's all that I use. Or you may be somebody who likes to have a really beautiful leather bound journal or something that's really pretty, and it's so that you can do your self-reflection, anything that comes to mind as you read or as we go through the program, inspiration, self-reflection, anything like that. I want you to jot down some ideas. And having a journal that you can keep handy but in a safe place is a good idea, because we don't want your man finding it and discovering that you're trying to change him. I mean, imagine what that would do to his ego. So that's your job. I'd like you to go out and get yourself a journal as soon as possible, today if possible, so that when you get your first email with your first e-class on it about the tool, you'll be able to immediately dive into the program and get on with it. So change your man using the Change Your Man toolkit, and know that you will have a much more meaningful, content and brilliant relationship. So take care. Bye.